Hello, OWL members. I am thrilled to announce this month's Inside the OWL Studio will feature Sight Sciences, who is our newest uniting sponsor. Sight Sciences is an eye care technology company focused on developing and commercializing innovative solutions intended to transform care and improve patients' lives. Using minimally invasive or non-invasive approaches to target the underlying causes of the world's most prevalent eye diseases, Sight Sciences seeks to create more effective treatment paradigms that enhance patient care and supplant conventional outdated approaches. Without further delay, I'm excited to introduce today's interviewee, Pierre Simon Jr., Global Vice President of Surgical Glaucoma Marketing. Pierre is an accomplished surgical and pharmaceutical leader, bringing over 15 years of progressive and international ophthalmic experience in sales, technical and consultative training, sales leadership, strategic marketing, product lifestyle management, and new product ideation. Welcome to Inside the OWL Studio, Pierre.
Thank you for having me, Abigail. That's quite the introduction. I appreciate
it. You got it. You are very, very impressive. And as you know, the OWL organization really strives to create networking and educational opportunities to support the mission of advancing diversity and leadership. I find it hugely beneficial to hear from other organizations about their efforts around diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. With that being said, I'm very excited to hear from you about Sight Sciences initiatives in this area. So on that, I'm going to hand it over to you to give us a little insight to Sight Sciences and what you're doing there.
Yeah, first off, thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to be here today because I love the mission of OWL. What we're looking to do is, increasing that diversity, equity, and inclusion within ophthalmology. If you think about it, the disease states that all of us in ophthalmology address or intervene or treat or manage, the disease states are extremely diverse and extremely inclusive of everyone. If you look at the patients that we serve, it's all kind of patients, all backgrounds of patients, even the surgeons that are coming out of residency and fellowship today, even the ODs that are coming out into practice, even those are becoming even more diverse. And so it's our duty and our pleasure to keep up with the organizations, to keep up with ophthalmology as a whole, to ensure that everything that we do is diverse, equitable, as well as inclusive, to keep up with the community. So just some of the things that Sight Sciences focuses on is it all begins with our diverse recruitment. When you look at enhancing diversity, equity, and inclusion, you have to ensure that you're building a true pipeline that's both diverse as well as inclusive. And to do that, we partner with several diverse recruitment agencies to ensure that the people that we're bringing in, that we're looking at a diverse slate of future employees. And so at every level of the company, whether it be the C-suite, the VP level, the entry level, we're ensuring that when we look at a slate of candidates, let's make sure that we have a diverse slate of candidates because, like I said, they're going to be working with surgeons and residents and fellows that are very diverse. The surgeons will be treating patients that are very diverse. And so we want to make sure that our employees are that they resemble that diversity that's out in the ophthalmic community. Some of the other things that we're doing is looking at the observances and ensuring that we're very inclusive with our observances and letting our employees know that we see you, no pun intended, that we see you because, when people feel like the work environment that they are at cares about who they are as a person, we all love what we do for the patients. We love what we do for the surgeons and the products that we create. But if you think about it, you spend a large percentage of your life at work.
Yes.
And so if that location cares about you as a person, something that is important to you, you're more willing to work harder. You're more willing to be more present and work starts to lose that feeling of just work to a place that you actually want to be. Just to give an example, we sent out a message for Pride Month to ensure that everyone knows the derivation of Pride Month, where it comes from, but why it's important. And then additionally, we have things coming up for Juneteenth, understanding where Juneteenth came from. And a lot of these things are to commemorate where we were as a nation, but more importantly, where we want to become, where we want to go as a nation and a community. So it gets back to understanding that our patients that we serve all look different. The surgeons that we serve all look different. And if we want to keep up with the ophthalmic community, it's important for us to be inclusive and observe these things that are important to our patients as well as our customers. Then the last thing I'll say before I keep blabbering on is we have affinity groups at Sight Sciences, namely our Women in Leadership Affinity Group. And what that truly does is it provides a space where people can see themselves. People of like minds can come together and say, we are like-minded in this mission to ensure that women can continue to lead. As someone who has 3 sisters, women can continue to lead. Yeah, that was great growing up. Don't worry, we'll share that in the next studio. Women can continue to lead and have a place where they can grow, expand their breadth of skill sets, and lead entire organizations. So I'm very excited to see what Sight Sciences is doing from recruitment, from observances, but also building these affinity groups where people can come and feel like they are part of something larger than themselves outside of just creating products and delivering technologies to the community.
That's wonderful. I just have a couple follow-up questions for you. It sounds like Sight Sciences is really doing some good things here. In your experience, because I know you have such a vast experience in the DNI area, even before you got to Sight Sciences, right? What do you feel is the biggest challenge that companies kind of face, or why certain companies seem to be doing better than others?
Yeah. So, the interesting thing about, I heard someone say once years ago, they said, well, we believe in DNI, but keep in mind that this is still a business. I'm like, that's interesting. So the biggest challenge or hurdle that most companies face is being able to tie diversity, equity, and inclusion to the bottom line.
Interesting.
And the reason why that's important is because whether we like it or not, most companies that we deal with, they have board of directors and they have a community that they have to please and appease with that bottom line. And so it is important that we recognize that diversity, equity, and inclusion, it is not difficult, but it has to be intentional and purposeful.
Yes.
And in order, the companies that are doing DNI the best is they're actually going away from doing to becoming diverse and inclusive. You have a lot of companies that are doing a lot of things, but until they actually tie diversity inclusion to the bottom line, then they're just doing things instead of becoming. And so what you want to be able to do is transition to say, if I am creating products and creating marketing campaigns that fully meet the surgeons that I'm serving, and the surgeons that I'm serving, they can see themselves in a marketing campaign, they're going to be more interested when they can see themselves, hey, that looks like me. Or the residents that are coming out now, the increase in female residents, they can see, hey, these companies are specifically creating products that meet me. And so I'll give you an example. When we create products now, we used to just create them extremely generic, but now with the ad boards that we're doing, we're recognizing that as the female increases in ophthalmology, we need to look at things like the size of equipment that we're creating, because hands are smaller. Hands may be different sizes. So being able to specialize products and not just have a one size fits all. So it's truly being able to tie diversity into the bottom line. If you're more diverse in the products that you bring to market, people are more, and surgeons are more inclined to look at your company, to look at your products. And it's the right thing to do, because again, the patients that we serve, they do not all look the same. If you look at glaucoma, it doesn't just affect one person, one race or one gender. It affects us all. And so being more diverse in the products that you are creating eventually hits the bottom line, and diversity becomes a part of the company as opposed to just something to do.
Oh, wow. Pierre, sometimes when I do these interviews, you know, moving from the doing to the becoming, what a great takeaway from this conversation. And I think you're spot on there. And I think, that bottom line, as you become, it will all work
Yes,
together, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, you will meet the bottom line objectives too. So on that note, I think we're going to move to the question part of the program. What is your favorite word in eye care?
Ooh, favorite word in eye care. I'll make it quick. So my favorite word in eye care from a surgeon and industry point is disruptive.
Hmm.
And I like that word because the ultimate goal is to be able to bring technologies to market that disrupts how we used to think with intervention, treatment, and management, and to consistently focus on ways to do it better.
I
And
love it.
that's why I like the word disruptive. From a patient point of view, my favorite word is like. And I know that sounds strange. My favorite word is like because when I'm in post-ops with surgeons and patients say things like, I can see like I did, or my vision is like it was. What they're truly saying is they're connecting their vision now after this disruptive technology to a time when they saw their grandkids climbing trees, or when they saw their kids walking down the aisle. And so even though we're hearing like when I was 25 or like when I was 40, what they're really saying is I see, and they're tying it, that like is tied to an experience. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of what we're able to do for patients, tying their newly revitalized vision to an experience that they would have never had again if they did not receive certain technologies. And that is the beauty of that word for me.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What is your least favorite word?
My least favorite word is normal. And you hear things like, presbyopia is normal. It's going to happen to us all. Or the progression of glaucoma, it's normal. It just happens. And I don't like that word normal because it is an acceptance of a status quo. It's normal. We're all going to face it. And I think our jobs as either industry is to create these disruptive technologies that creates new normals, and not having the same normals that our grandparents or great grandparents unfortunately just had to suffer through. Create these new technologies so we can create new normals that are more exciting and bringing vision back. For the surgeon side, giving the patients a new experience to normal based on your new techniques that you're learning, your new implementation of technologies that you're learning, where we're on both sides, where the industry or the ophthalmic side, we're creating new normal for the patient. So as it stands, I hate the word normal because we're accepting something as opposed to changing and creating a new normal, which I believe we're moving closer and closer to.
Great. I agree. I agree. What professional role would you want to try? Something that you're not doing now, just something that you would love to, in a perfect world, be able to do.
And I like to be a professional lottery winner, but
Let's keep it at
outside,
ophthalmology.
I'll keep it in ophthalmology. I love to be a chief commercial officer. This is someone who leads the organization from marketing, sales, strategy, product creation on a much larger scale. This position, I love this position because you're able to, Steve Jobs once said, people don't know what they need until you tell them. Uh, I love this position because you're able to really work with your surgeons and partner with them and help identify what is the future need of the ophthalmic space,
Hmm.
and really look forward facing to say, let's go create a solution for a problem that we don't even know exists yet. And so you're able to kind of do both. You're able to be forward facing and say, we're going to work on things that are not a true problem yet, or we don't know is a problem yet, but we're also going to optimize our current space in all these areas as well. So that's something that truly interests me, being able to think much higher level on both sides, future as well as current.
Yeah, and really being able to impact that future strategy, right? That
Right.
would be really fun. Um,
Yeah.
what role in eye care would you not want to attempt?
Oh, well, no offense to my friends that are in this role within eye care, but I have zero desire to be a chief financial officer of any ophthalmic space in the world because it is the most thankless job, and everyone thinks that you are trying to cut the budget at some point. Now, I appreciate all of the CFOs that I've worked with because one of their true jobs is to ensure that we have the funds that we need to do everything that I've talked about for the last 8 or 9 minutes. However, I have no desire to do that. I want to be on the driving side of the ideation and the creation side. Um, but I do understand and believe in the importance of the CFO role. But I have no desire to sit for all the tests that they have to take. I have no desire to do any of that. I'm perfectly fine staying on the commercial side.
Yeah, I'm with you there, but back to that bottom line discussion, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so the last question I have before my surprise question is,
Mm.
if there's one thing you could do to contribute to diversity and leadership in this industry, what would it be?
For what I would do, what I do, and what I will continue to do is toward mentor toward representation. And someone once asked me as I was in a DNI workshop, they said, well, you know, representation is important, but what really does that do if we just put someone in the role? And I said, well, the goal is
Mhm.
not to just place people in roles, but what representation does is it shows possibility. When you have someone in a role for the first time that never existed, it shows everyone else that looks like them that that is now possible.
Mhm.
And you can look at any political role that had a first. You can look at any ophthalmic role that had a first. It doesn't matter what you actually look at, but you look at any first, and after you have the first, you'll have multiple that follow because it shows what's possible. To that end, I encourage everyone in ophthalmology, whether on the surgery, the ophthalmic side or the industry side, I say find someone that you can mentor because you know, we have to make sure that we're sharing our experiences and giving actionable and measurable things that certain people can do in order to grow their ability in DNI. We have to make sure that we're mentoring and showing them the way or the path to how we got to where we are. Give them those 2 to 3 bullets and nuggets that they can implement within their careers in order to continue to prepare for roles to be a part of that representation. So that's what I do now. That is what I will continue to do.
Well, Pierre, on that note, we do have a great mentorship program at OWL. So we will be in touch with you, I'm sure, in the future.
Be careful what you ask for, huh?
Yes, and so my surprise question is,
Yes,
if you were a beverage, what would you?
yes. If I was a beverage, what would I be?
Mhm.
I would be a Kentucky Mule.
You'll have to
And
explain
it,
that to the audience. What is
yeah,
the difference?
so the difference is um, Moscow Mule uses its liquor is vodka and is mixed with ginger beer. I believe that's correct. Google, you can
Yes.
check me. But a Kentucky Mule has the exact same ingredients except it utilizes bourbon, and I'm a bourbon fan. I like the mules because they're served in very zesty and festive copper cups, which I absolutely love that it's different. Um, but it gives you your bourbon, but it also has ginger beer, and it's a very refreshing drink. You can drink it at night. You can drink it on a Sunday fun day brunch. It's
Yeah.
all inclusive. It's multi-purpose. So I like to be different. So the copper cup, I love that. And I like to be double different, going with the bourbon, the Kentucky Mule, as opposed to the Moscow Mule. So that's what drink I'd be.
That's awesome. And that sounds delicious.
Yes, it is. It is. It's great.
Oh, well, Pierre, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you to Sight Sciences for your support of OWL. It is so appreciated. And this has been absolutely delightful. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Abigail. We look forward to continuing to support our.
Thank you.
Thank you.